Should you buy Modern Warfare 3? This is the burning question that many of you will be asking yourself right now after either having played the beta weekend or observing from a distance similar to Squidward watching your friends go out and play without you. First things first, and I'll call this section the ugly. Why should you pay £70 or more for a DLC? This is the question I've been hearing and seeing all over the place recently on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, everything. And to be honest with you, I get it. With this multiplayer, unlike previous ones, all your weapons, skins, challenges, operators, all your store bundles, everything else previously unlocked from Modern Warfare 2 will be carrying over to this year's multiplayer in Modern Warfare 3. On release, there will be 16 revamped maps from the original Modern Warfare 2 from 2009, and we saw a bunch of these in the beta, maps such as Terminal, Afghan, Derail, Underpass, Quarry, etc. That all will be on release 2, with a rumored 12 completely new maps coming over the course of the year. Now, on the face of it, that sounds quite ideal, especially if, like me, Modern Warfare 2 from 2009 was the COD you mainly grew up with and you'd play it all day and all night instead of studying. But if I'm going to play devil's advocate and if I'm going to help you make the right informed decision on how to spend 70 quid or more if you go for the Vault Edition, it just isn't a small amount of change these days. One of the biggest fears I have about everything transferring over from the previous multiplayer is that you won't completely get that new, fresh multiplayer feeling that we all love for the first week or two before we notice the bugs and things that annoy us. And one thing in particular that I think I will get quite bored of quite quickly is when you come up against all the see-through Groot skins. You know, you won't get that new feeling of everyone looking the same and then, oh, there's a cool skin out, I'll get that and I'll be different. Or I'll unlock this skin through doing some challenges and I'll stick out. But you have all the same bundle skins and it just won't have that same new feeling. Same with when you're trying to level up a brand new gun, going for weapon camo challenges, and you come up against people that are using the maxed out TAC 56 or ISO Hemlock and just destroying the lobby in front of you. I think that'll get quite boring quite quick. There's also the fact that playing the beta, you had to go through the Modern Warfare 2 UI and play Modern Warfare 3 through a playlist inside of Modern Warfare 2. And yes, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to go down this whole Call of Duty HQ route, but it all just felt a little bit weird and a bit off-putting to me. And you notice that the UI is slightly different and you can vote for maps now and whatnot, but you start to feel, why couldn't this have just been a massive update instead? So I again go back to the question I asked at the start of this video. Why should you pay £70 or more for this DLC, this brand new game? Well, all I've seen and heard over the last few weeks and months and the whole course of Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer being out is I would much rather go back to pay DLC and the £15 for map packs 4 times a year or so. Now's your chance to double down on that because guess what? That's pretty much what this is. You're getting essentially Modern Warfare 2 remastered, along with zombies, new mastery camera grind, new campaign stuff, which gets me incredibly excited because they don't ever miss the Call of Duty campaigns in my opinion. But before you make an opinion just yet, let me go through everything that I enjoyed playing the Modern Warfare 3 beta over the course of this second weekend for probably around 50 hours or so. If you enjoyed Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer because of its slower playstyle compared to the previous Call of Duties, then you may not enjoy this one. Sledgehammer, who are the studio behind this year's multiplayer, pretty much did a complete 180 on last year's title, and given what 95% of the player base wanted and reverted back to that Modern Warfare 2019 style of quick fluid movement, great weapon sounds, and great revamped maps from years gone by, and much more. There's a new perk system which I absolutely love. It divides perks up into gloves, vests, boots, and utility, and to me it's just brilliant and adds a new dimension to the game and a fresh feel to perks with great potential to probably expand on these for Warzone and DM Zombies. And I just love the fact that if you want Dead Silence, which is back as a perk now instead of utility, you put on some sneakers. You want fast hands? Put on some gloves. Red dots are now also back on the mini-map and suppressors actually work how they should. Red dot sights and small optics in general won't slow you down anymore, and this is perfect as it goes hand in hand with the overall game's new fluid fast movement. Of course, there were some attachments and the tuning you could do in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer to help negate these negative effects, but it was just far from ideal having to do all that. And it's not just the running that feels much better. Every aspect of the game feels massively improved to me. The sliding, the mantling, the aiming while moving, the aiming while sliding, the hip firing, the new tactical stance, which I think is pretty damn cool, especially used with shotguns. And another point I could put into this sort of good category part of the video is the amazing work Sledgehammer have done overhauling these maps from Modern Warfare 2 2009, I felt like I'd been transported back to my old room again, being 16, not studying, eating Doritos and dip with a can of Monster by my side. As I touched on earlier, these maps are exactly how I remember them. Rust, Skid Row, High Rise, Estates, Favela, all that we've got to play in the beta, and they all played perfectly, exactly the same whether you love them or not. And sure, yeah, the spawns in the beta were a bit off, particularly on Rust and High Rise for me, but I'm sure these will get adjusted slightly over the coming weeks before full release. But overall, from the looks, gameplay, lines of sight, jump spots, as I mentioned earlier, I was transported back to my youth. Another fantastic and new addition that I loved in the beta, and I think would create a completely new and interesting dynamic, is the aftermarket parts. It can transform a weapon to something completely new. We saw it in particular in the beta. You can use a standard pistol like the Rafikas from the original Modern Warfare 2 into a full-on MP7-like submachine gun. Amazing. And it'll be interesting to see what wacky things they bring throughout the year for this. And if the rumors are true around an advanced warfare season coming in Modern Warfare 3, you can only imagine the fun weapons you could create with a laser gun like the EM1 or the BAL or even the ASM1. During the second week of the beta, we got a look at Search and Destroy, and again it hit me with a ton of nostalgia, as an SMD is all I played back in the day, doing game battles or trick shots for final kill cams, etc. Now, even if you're not an old fire like me and you don't have that same nostalgic feeling going back, the maps play perfectly, as I've said. They always did for Search and Destroy, and if you've never really played that mode before, I think you'll absolutely love it, and you should definitely give it a go in Modern Warfare 3. With the new perks, the new movement, gunplay, it was truly, truly amazing in my opinion. Same thing can be said about Ground War for me. Super, super fun again. We got to look at two maps during the beta for the new Warzone Urzikstan map, and they both played great. I, for one, loved playing Ground War in this year's Call of Duty anyway, when I just wanted to chill out, maybe jump in a tank, get my sniping long shots down, play like a tactical rooftop sniper, or just run around with an SMG, LMG, or even an AR. I always loved Ground War, and it seems great so far in this year's Call of Duty. The last part in this section is going to be about the time to kill, the TTK. At first, it seemed a bit frustrating for me, putting 4 bullets into a guy, then running away round a corner. But as the weekend went on, it started to appreciate the fact that this opens up that skill gap and that debate that we've been asking for this whole year, and it allows you to get away, regain. If you weren't the first person to shoot, now you probably have a chance to turn on the guy and get the kill. For example, if you were to run into a room in this year's Call of Duty, you'd be spotted first and you'd die instantly. But now if you run into a room and little Timmy sat there in the corner waiting, 9 times out of 10 now, you have the chance to turn on them with this movement buff and the time to kill improvement to actually get the kill. Fantastic. But on the flip side of this, and again, it is only the beta, so hopefully they'll take on feedback before the full release, some of the guns and the weapons felt very unbalanced during the beta. For example, the marksman rifles would give you numerous hit markers for headshots, whereas the UMP variant and the ACR would kill you in 3 bullets across the map, anywhere on the body, every single time. Of course, as I said, I hope they can figure this out, but it's going to be incredibly tricky for them to balance all the guns from last year's Call of Duty and then this year's, and then all the aftermarket parts that are going to be implemented as well into Warzone multiplayer. Is going to be incredibly difficult to see how they juggle this and balance it all correctly, but only time will tell on that front. Overall, the beta was extremely good and I had such an amazing time playing for it, but of course there are a few things that need to be ironed out. Spawns, skill-based matchmaking was way too high in the beta. I think everyone will agree on that. The weapon balancing, as I just mentioned, and a handful of other things. But as I said, it was great fun, and I saw other people say the same thing too. And a lot of big names in the community who had a lot of bad things to say about Modern Warfare 2 are really positive about this year's multiplayer in particular. Of course, you should probably take that with a pinch of salt. But yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit, I am genuinely excited for this year's Call of Duty multiplayer, along with open world zombies element and of course the campaign. I had no real expectations for the game. I'd only jumped in the beta on the second weekend after seeing the hype and getting some FOMO, but this has brought me back in and given me that excitement. So, is it worth £70 of your hard-earned cash money? Well, I think you may be able to tell from how this video's ran on away from me and the excitement you might be able to hear in my voice. I am very optimistic about this year's Call of Duty multiplayer, Warzone as well, the zombies element, the campaign. I would say go for it. Or if you're not 100% on it, give it a couple weeks, watch some streams, watch YouTube videos, watch your TikToks, gauge, get a rough idea of how it's going, and then you can always jump in around Christmas time. But I hope that you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form. And as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day.